My name's Rich. I'm a pastor here at Hillfields Church. This week has been really playing on my mind about the state of the church and also us as Christians, us as followers of Christ, like in how we conduct ourselves in the time that we're in right now regarding the COVID-19 situation and other things that are going on in and around the world. Like what should we be doing as a church, and how should we be seen to the world in this time? And it's been a real challenge for me because up right at the beginning of the whole COVID thing, there was mega shutdown for everybody. I think that was right. I think it was right that it was across the board, that everybody had been treated in the same way, and that as things came back to some resemblance of normality and things started to open up, that was done fairly as well. What has been challenging me is that now I believe we're starting to be challenged as Christians in our nation about the areas of which we can't compromise on, i.e. the gathering when everyone else is allowed to gather, the worshipping God when everyone else is allowed to chant, sing and do whatever they like, whether they're out protesting, whether they're out in pubs. And it's just been a big challenge because as a leader I have to be responsible. As a leader I need to make sure that we're protective of everybody that we are caring for, as well as the community that we feel that we're responsible for. But I just want to challenge you that if you're a Christian today and you're watching this right now, or you're a church leader, I just want to challenge you about what lengths are you going to ensure that people know that you are representing Christ in this time of chaos. Like I've been really disappointed in the church. I've been disappointed in the way that actually the opportunity for the church to come out blazing and be available and to encourage and to show love and to give answers to questions that people have been asking through this whole period has just not happened. The church is online. I get it. We all went online. It was all brilliant. But the reality is that is virtual church. That's not real church. That is not the gathering. That is just something that was necessary for a short period of time. But the opportunity came when the doors were allowed to be open, which was from the 5th of July, for the churches to open their doors and come together. The church kept their doors shut, and they're still keeping their doors shut now. And now there's more restrictions from the government on Christians, on us. Why? And that's a big challenge for me as a Christian, and it's challenged me a lot. And now I've got to the point where I want to make sure that we are more fearful of God than we are of man, and that we make sure that God is still king on top of his throne, regardless of whether people might think we believe in something that's hocus pocus to them, or a fantasy, or fairy tales. The reality is we do believe in a living, breathing, existing God, and we become more of a mockery to this world, especially to those that don't believe in him, if we don't actually stand by that conviction, and if we don't actually stand for who he is in the midst of trial, tribulation, difficult choices, where Jesus is still Lord, that we're still willing to make sure that we won't forsake his commands, his call on our lives, not only just to gather around, but also just to make sure that he's king and he's on the throne. And whilst me 100% agree that we need to do everything we can to make sure that this virus just disappears through everyone doing what they should be doing, when I know that the government, and when I know that other people are able to gather on beaches, they're able to gather in pubs and chant and sing and shout, do karaoke or whatever it is at a football screen, a screen of television, and we aren't allowed to do those things, I'm sorry, we need to make a stand. We're going to be here tomorrow, outside, worshipping God, and making a stand and a proclamation that the church in the UK is not gonna just take a beating and sit down and take a beating. That we're not just gonna roll over. That's it. We're just not gonna roll over and take it. That we're gonna stand. So many people are protesting and standing for the things that they believe in, and we believe in God. We believe in where the buck stops. We believe that he is sovereign, he is king, and he is Lord. And I don't believe that we, the Christians, the church, are actually showing the world out there how much we really believe in him. Instead, we're all just disappearing. We're all staying on our holidays longer. We're not opening the doors. And that's not good enough. is not good enough. We can never associate ourselves to the church that is persecuted around the world, churches and Christians that die for their faith around the world. But this is the first test in the UK for many Christians, many churches, to make a stand that won't even bring remotely close to the persecution and even the murder of people for standing for their faith that happens in other countries. We're just talking about maybe a shaking of your reputation, maybe bad press, whatever it might be, and yet we're not even going to make a stand in that moment. We're not even going to say, like, no, I'm meeting around Jesus. Doing that online stuff is great. We've been doing online things here as a church for a long time. We do believe in it, but it is nothing in comparison to the gathering together. And the church is forsaking the gathering together. And so I challenge you, come together. We invite you to come and be part of our church. We are social distancing. We have hand sanitizer coming out of our ears. We are making sure that people are protected and looked after. So everything that we need to do is in place to make sure that we're protecting one another, but we are not going to forsake the gathering together. So I invite you to come and be part of the gathering tomorrow. Since we've been open the last 4 weeks, we've seen maybe over 20 new faces, maybe more than that, new faces walk through those doors because our doors are open. The church needs to open its doors right now, just because there may be just one person stood outside asking and looking for answers, and we have them. The church has them. I challenge you, open your doors, get to the gathering, be around one another, worship our God in spirit and in truth, and let's be a light in the dark. Let's bring hope to hopelessness, and let's make a stand as believers in Christ for what we really believe in, so that when we are being shaken, when we are being challenged, that we are stepping up and we are accepting that challenge and saying, it doesn't matter what people say, it doesn't matter what people may even do, I am not backing down from who Jesus says he is and who Jesus asks me to be before him. The message tomorrow is called Taking Off Your Mask, and it's a message particularly for the church. It's been hitting me hard this week. My challenge, my personal challenge, like, am I really willing to make a stand for God? Am I really willing to make the stand for God no matter the cost? Am I really willing to do that? Having to ask that question, having to think, right, we're going to set up our church, we're going to be doing things which doesn't seem to be normal. Churches don't seem to be even gathering right now. We seem to be the odd ones out in many ways, and that is a big challenge for me. Like, am I doing things wrong? Are we not meant to be doing this? What should we be doing? The government has said we can gather together, but the church isn't gathering. Maybe we're doing something wrong. Maybe there's something not right about us gathering. And these things have been challenging me all the way through the last few weeks. And yet I've come to the conclusion that there are people out there that just need answers. They need to know that there's something more than this. And we've got it, church. We have that answer because we were once those people in doubt, in struggle, in hopelessness, in pain. And Jesus came into our life and he healed us, he rescued us, he restored us. The world needs to know that the people that believe that there's a God, the people that believe that Jesus is who he says he is, actually are going to stand by the conviction and actually make the stand, to show no fear, to be willing to stand for what they believe, no matter the cost. And I want to say to you, tomorrow we're going to gather, we're going to be amongst one another, we're going to do everything safely, we're going to do everything within the restrictions that have been asked of us, but we are not going to forsake the gathering together of the saints. And I want to challenge you as a Christian or as a church leader, if you are leading a church and your doors are shut right now, do not forsake the gathering of the church anymore. Open your doors, because I'm telling you, it's already happened for us as a church. When we opened the doors, people came in. And I'm not talking about the people we knew before the COVID. I'm talking about people that did not know us, did not know Jesus, did not have a connection to God. All sorts of incredible stories have happened because we opened the doors, and we've seen new faces walk through those doors because we opened them. I challenge you as church leaders to get your act together, to get your whatever your groups are, your memberships or your leaderships, and say we need to open the doors, because there may be just somebody waiting outside, waiting to come in, asking for Jesus to come into their lives. Church, if we are not in the business of souls, we're not in the business of making money, we're not in the business of getting popular, we're not in the business of just having churches full of people, we're in the business of souls. Our responsibility is to see a soul that is heading down the wrong path, change its direction, and Jesus has put his hope in me and his hope in you as followers of him. And he says, I'm asking you to be my mouthpiece on this world to let the world know that there is a hope and that their soul can actually change its destination. We need to realize that the goal is the soul, that the heart of every Christian should be to reach out to people that do not know Jesus, and that what we've received, we want them to receive. And for me, it seems like the church has disappeared. Unless I go on YouTube or Facebook, I do not see the church alive, awake, or even just a presence in its community. And I'm challenged as a leader to make sure that we do that. But my challenge is to you as well. As leaders, as Christians, what are you going to do? Open your doors, let people walk in, and maybe, just maybe, we'll see some souls snatched out of that pit and rescued and set on that rock. I challenge you, I encourage you. It's time. It's time we make a stand. It's time we gather together. And it's time we make sure that we're being the church that God created us to be. Thanks for listening. I hope to see you tomorrow, or I hope that you make the effort to get somewhere tomorrow where you gather with actual people, get around people, be with people that can worship with, that you can be prayed for with, you can just have a chat about life and Jesus with. I hope that this stirs you to get into action and do something with your faith, because what Jesus has put in you is incredible. It's time for us to let it out.